Welcome to another episode of the Wholesale Elite Podcast. I am Isham Hipshire. I'm joined by my main man, Mr. Tanner Santucci. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Let's get it going.
I think I screwed up your name, Tanner Santucci.
Close enough.
Yeah. You guys get the gist by now, guys. Today we have none other than the man himself in the studio. And for those of you who are not looking and you're listening, I want to give this gentleman the respect he deserves before I roll the name out there. But nonetheless, this is a person who, when I first got brought into the astro flipping environment, one of the first things I did was looked around for different group experts to network with, because I viewed myself as an A player. And I saw, a list of names, and I saw this guy, Mahmoud Issa, and just his picture and his demeanor and everything. I'm like, okay, this guy is a dude who I want to get to know. For some weird reason, I feel like we're gonna work together. We're gonna get to know each other. I just felt it in my bones. And then moving forward through just the little bit of time that I've been in the group, I've been able to be on Mahmoud's calls. He has a call that he does inside the environment or inside of our community, where it's phenomenal. The insight that Mahmoud is going to lend today on the show, the mindset, the way his brain works. I just found out his age and my mind is blown. I thought Mahmoud was older than me. He has so much knowledge. He's just an old soul, as I say. So Mahmoud Issa, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Great, man. Thanks for having me, guys. This is
gonna be fun.
Absolutely.
Well, man, this show's a little different. We say this a lot. We don't want to dive too much in on the tactics and whatnot, because there's plenty of that out there. You've headed up a lot of Jamil's big challenges and programs, and you're always a guest on there, lending your insight with all the other experts that he has on. And so there's plenty of content out there, guys. If you want to find the how-tos from Mr. Mahmoud, but we want to talk about the how to get to the how-tos, the mindset. And to me, it's the most important thing. What's in between your ears? That's what gets you the deals. That's what gets you from deal to deal to deal, at least in my observance and perspective. So Mahmoud, I wanted to start off, man, just by kind of going way back into time, because I really feel it's valuable for people to learn someone's kind of family dynamic and their upbringing, because I feel that really sets a beautiful foundation for how we can build on top of that and how you got to the success that you're currently having right now. So give us a little insight on your background, maybe, where you live, and a little bit about your family and your upbringing. That'd be super helpful.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I was grew up in San Francisco Bay Area, California. Lived here pretty much my entire life. My parents were Middle Eastern immigrants, so we kind of lived in a pretty sheltered, culture controlled household and stuff. Parents kind of wanted to make sure you're not getting in too much trouble and influenced in a way that's, not in accordance to how they want you to be influenced and that sort of thing. And so, I grew up in kind of a, nice suburb, town for most of my life.
What did your parents do for a living?
My mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad was, owned a structural engineering company. Yeah, he did his graduate, master's, PhD education at UC Berkeley. It's kind of what brought us out to the Bay Area in the first place. And,
Nice.
It was largely my dad who kind of had this huge influence of education on us, and, wanted us to really adopt education in the household, and
sure,
always study now, you'll have a better future later, and work hard in school, and you'll never have, you work harder now and you'll play harder later. And that was kind of the overall dynamic at home, was kind of just like, don't have too much fun, work more, study more. So I was essentially trained to be a workaholic since I was maybe 7 years old.
Okay.
So I was 7 years old. It was kind of go play outside for 30 minutes after you've done your 4 hours of homework. Video games only on Friday nights. Saturdays and Sundays are for studying. Monday through Fridays for school. It was kind of like that. And so I was kind of conditioned to be a workaholic, to work hard, to postpone pleasure, basically since I was a young infant, since I was a toddler. And the same goes for all of my siblings. And, that served us well in terms of in terms of our education. I mean,
right.
Me and all my siblings went to, top 20 US world class institutions for our bachelor's and postgraduate educations. And, followed kind of in the footsteps of my dad and all of that. And, that was largely what my, what was kind of in store with me. I mean, I went to high school because my family in 2009, we moved from the Bay Area to Jordan in the Middle East because my mom wanted to be closer to her parents, to our grandparents. So we kind of just moved out there. So I spent 4 years in the Middle East, where I attended high school, finished up high school, and then moved back by myself, San Diego, where I did my 4 years of undergrad. After which I moved up to the Bay Area for my master's. So I kind of was born in the Bay Area, went to the Middle East, San Diego, and then back to the Bay Area. Kind of went full circle by myself, which is fun. But I mean, that's kind of a big thing was like, it was education. That was kind of, I think, and when you're in college too, the great thing about it is you really do get a chance to build yourself and discover who you are, discover, how you are in certain social situations, what you like, what you don't like, and really discover what, subject matter of the world you most like to engage with.
Sure.
Which was fantastic. Right. And, I took got to delve deep into an exposure into subjects like, neuroscience, psychology, deep philosophy, engineering, mathematics, astronomy, like everything that, you can think of in terms of college subject classes is kind of what my college kind of exposed me to. And so I really got a chance to learn about, what I most like, about how to really interact with my environment,
Sure.
I ended up majoring and specializing. So majoring in chemical engineering, but specializing in material science and nanotechnology. And then I just fell in love with, nano engineering research and just the field, the industry of basically, it's then centered around how do you manipulate materials on the molecular level? How do you actually change the structure of a material at the chemical level, molecular level, and how does that affect the physical properties on the macro scale, the electrical properties, the, thermal properties. And so, it's basically the science of how do I alter materials at a small scale, at a nano scale,
sure,
to produce materials that have desired effects on the large scale. So, which applications are endless, right? In terms of, medical applications, food applications, military, like aviation.
Absolutely.
Even entertainment, right? You have like virtual reality, materials. I mean, I worked for a year at a company that was making these like gloves that you would wear, and they would essentially produce haptic physical feedback on the receptors of your fingers to make you feel like you're actually immersed in a virtual reality space. So you'd be able to feel textures of like leathery or soft or rough. You'd be able to pick up a ball in your hand and feel it. And I would kind of, help kind of design these devices. So I really got a chance to dabble in the field that I enjoyed and continued in this field of nano engineering in my master's. And it was about 2020 where I finished my master's, and I essentially had a chance to either continue to my PhD. I got admitted into Cornell University, or to get into real estate. So it was basically Cornell or astro flipping. And Jamil won. So
yeah,
picked a
Well,
full $150,000 ride to Cornell over. I picked Astro Flipping over basically $150,000 full ride to Cornell, where they would pay me a stipend of like, you know, a lot of money each year to study PhD there. So I picked Astro Flipping over that, and you know, I haven't really looked back since.
dude, okay, so I got to jump in now. You know, so we were talking about college, and then you know, grad school, and then okay, now we're at a level. Do we go with the PhD or do we go Astro? When did real estate even come on the radar?
So real estate came on the radar, I think, in early 2020. So right while I was waiting for my admission results to come for my PhD applications, and I basically came like I would kind of get these videos on my feed about you know, like people who didn't go to school, you know, like 16-year-olds making $1 million on the internet and stuff like that. So I kind of just watch that stuff to just kind of make fun of it a little bit with my
Sure.
friends and joke about it. It's like, come on, like this is no fucking way to live.
That's so true.
Yeah, I can make money online and you can too. Sign up to my program. I was like, that's fucking bullshit. Like, what are you guys doing? So I would see all of this stuff and kind of just, you know, watch it just to kind of see what, you know, what are they actually like, who the hell is even, you know, buying this, you know, like, and you know, a lot of it was scam stuff that I would see. And then I actually started, you know, it kind of took me into a rabbit hole. These videos took me a rabbit hole where now actual, real, legit financial advice videos would start to come. So the algorithm, basically me looking for like the kind of like the bad, like kind of scammy money now videos kind of prompted the YouTube algorithm to send me some pretty good stuff about financial advice and investment decisions. And so now it basically turned into me essentially going into a rabbit hole of, you know, Warren Buffett videos, Donald Trump videos, a bunch of investors really kind of breaking down strategies and kind of, you know, started watching stock market videos, like I just really kind of learning like macroeconomics and microeconomics. So I started kind of, me coming from a place of engineering, I started kind of watching all of this business and financial content and kind of engaging with that and just, you know, being like, you know, I've never really learned about money things before. Might be cool to kind of educate myself just in life, you know, it's going to be helpful. I was like learning, so maybe I've neglected kind of the financial aspect of my knowledge a little bit. So let's kind of feed the brain in that sense. And then yeah, started listening to some audiobooks. I think I read, you know, listened to Think and Grow Rich, 10X,
Grant Cardone's.
Yeah, the the 10X method. I forget the one with the big 10, the X on the cover, that one. And like a few other books. I think I read like maybe 8, 10. We didn't re-listen to full like 8 to 10 audiobooks just on investing, real estate investing, negotiation, just business skills stuff. And then what really kind of got me interested was just real estate investing in general, and you know and I had met people in college and their parents were very wealthy real estate investors, so I was like, okay, this kind of seems cool. So I started kind of learning more about that, and in Grant Cardone's book, he talked about that, and it started to kind of come up to me as something that would be pretty interesting to just kind of learn about. And then I got pretty deep into it as a concept. So I joined my local RIA, and in 2020, the RIA meetings were Zoom meetings. So I would kind of just go to those and made really good friends with the leader of my RIA group. And, you know, I kind of told him, like, you know, for somebody like me who's, you know, trying to do his PhD and kind of, you know, invest on the side, what would be a good way to go about that? And he said, you know, either like, you know, like, I think he said basically, I forgot this. He was basically saying like a low liability buy and hold strategy, or I'm trying to remember the name, but he said that or wholesaling. And I was like, okay, I'll learn about wholesaling. He said with wholesaling, you don't even have to basically have any money, and then you can just go in and make money, and then you can use that money to invest and actually buy your own properties. And so he recommended this wholesaling strategy, and so I basically went through the Jerry Norton YouTube rabbit hole on that. Kind of learned the basics of wholesaling. Almost did a deal, and then within a week of kind of YouTubing stuff, I kind of I got a property under contract, but it was locked up a bit too high. I had to cancel it. But I also thought, it was kind of a cool little experience. But yeah, I mean, for me, it was kind of what really got me into real estate was I wanted to kind of just learn about it. I didn't even think it would be a career. I didn't really even take it that seriously, to be honest. But it was more of, I had to kind of sit by myself for a second and just think, like, do I pick what I love to do in life, or do I pick what I know is going to make me more money? And that's a real kind of ethical, emotional conundrum that you could probably write a 10-page college essay on, right? Is, do you pick the thing that's going to make you more money,
right?
Or do you pick the thing that you love more? And for me, I love engineering. And to this day, I'm honest to say, I love the concept of material science and engineering a billion times more than I'll love real estate. I'll actually never love real estate as much as I do engineering, and it'll be that way till I die. I know that. But the conundrum is, in this for the sake of your family, your future family, your loved ones, the people that rely on you in your life, do we have a responsibility to do what is going to be to provide a better life for those that are in your life? Do we have a responsibility to pick what's better for them if we know a way that's better? So it's like, if I know I can make $200,000 a year with my engineering skills, or $200,000 a month with real estate, because the $200,000 a month will provide better for my family, do I have a responsibility to do that because I know that I'm capable of it, regardless if I like it or not? Is it a responsibility? That was the ethical conundrum that went on in my mind.
Sure.
So I was like, you know what? Maybe I do have an actual, responsibility to do that. I mean, at that point, I think I had about $175,000 in student debt. I never knew what felt like to have $5,000 in the bank at the same time before. So, I mean, I thought that, it would be something that would be life-changing. And I also thought of it as something like, if I know how to solve, like nonlinear partial differential equations that fill up basically 20 pages of math, like, I can sell a freaking house, like anyone can. So I was like, all right, if this is what it takes to, make a ton of money, I'll do this. And yeah, I mean, still the plan is the same, right? Is kind of, I've essentially decided it's kind of like the philosophy of, when you wake up in the morning, Isham, and you go in and you step out of the door of your house, you put your shoes on, right? Now, when you put your shoes on, are you passionate about shoes? Is your entire life around your shoes? No. Why do you wear your shoes? Because you just, in this life, when you go outside, you put shoes on. Shoes are important. Right. When you go in your car and you drive to the grocery store, did you do a 5-year degree on driving? Is driving something you think about? No, you do it because you need to drive and to function in this world and society. Driving's kind of important now. That's my relationship with money. That's my relationship with real estate. I do it because I know how to do it. It's important to do it. Money's important. We do it. Because.
So how do you stay? Let me ask you this then: if you're more passionate per se about engineering, how do you stay fired up about real estate? Because I feel like money sure is a big factor in terms of a why per se, but how do you stay fired up every day if real estate isn't actually your passion? What about real estate keeps you fired up?
Yeah, I think what keeps me fired up about real estate the most is the superposition, the overlap, the superimposing overlap that I've seen now between real estate and the two things: the real world impact I have on others' lives, and the social life aspect of it. So for me, real estate, sure, it's satisfying, the basic need of financial sustenance for me and my family. Fantastic. But it's also providing me a way to make an impact on not just on, thousands of people, but the thousands of people that they go to impact. So I can actually start to really make an actual tangible difference, not a, difference of, sign this petition to save the whales, like an actual real impact. And
tangible, yeah.
it's something real tangible that I can, I can get calls from people saying, you really helped us get into this, and thank you. So it's the impact, and it's also the social life, the experience. I mean, I can fly into any major metro city across in the country now, and go to like a real estate meetup, and 15 people will know me, and I'll be able to hang out with them, and I'll be able to, it's friends all over the country. I mean, what more can you want than people, they're like-minded, that, to have this family, because I'm a very family oriented person. I value friends and family. So to be in a place where I can, the sense of community, where I can kind of just have fun and hang out with people, and, just, exist and have a great, friendship experience with so many people. I live for that. Right. So it's really that, the friendship aspect and the impact aspect is what makes it kind of fun and meaningful. That's where the meaning comes in. And then obviously, it's kind of like the financial aspect of building working towards building an insane amount of wealth for me and my family, legacy, future generations, all that good stuff. But I also consider real estate as something that is it's going to be a temporary thing. In terms of it's going to go on forever, but my full on week being about real estate is going to go away eventually. Right. So
sure.
I'll have my company, I'll have my portfolio, my holdings, all of that stuff. And then I get time to focus on doing what I love. And isn't that why people become financial free? So they can focus on what they love, right?
100%.
Some people, they, build these insanely wealthy portfolios, and they go and they travel the world with their family, with their 2 kids and their wife. Some people, they go and they use it to, fly all across the country talking about, real estate and helping other people. Some people spend it on a yacht. Some people, like, there's so many different things that people build financial freedom to accomplish. But the thing about being financially free, where you have comfort and you have the freedom to do whatever you want, is that the true colors of what makes you happiest show when you don't have to worry about money. It's like, what acts are you doing when you don't have to worry about money? Like, what are you actually doing? That's how you get to the core of what you love. And so I asked myself that. Would I be in Venice? Would I be in Italy? Would I be with my family? What would I be doing? And honestly, I would be in a research lab trying to figure out some sort of material that's going to help beat cancer, like something like that. That's what I would do. And then I would probably build a company around that and scale that. And I have business experience, building a multi-million-dollar, real estate company. So I'd be able to, be one step closer towards doing that. So it's like, I believe in profit first, money first, get yourself situated, and then have fun. So for me, I associate work hard with real estate, play hard with go do science. It's fun.
That's awesome.
Dude, that's awesome.
Everyone's a little different.
Not many people would say that, so that's a testament to you.
So like the same responsibility that comes with make a lot of money, then buy a Lamborghini, not Lamborghini, then buy a lot of money. It's buy a lot of money, then do science, not do science, then make a lot of money. That's just how it works for me.
I think like one of the most important things that you just kind of laid out there is the importance of self-awareness. You know, I've come, man, over the last few years, you know, especially at this level where I'm at in life, where I've come to understand, wow, how important being self-aware is. You know, I think we can fall prey very easily to the social norms. You know, this is expected of me, or man, I should be doing this by this date and whatnot. When you can wipe yourself free of all that and just be self-aware, knowing who you are and knowing that you're taking the actions for your own reasons, not for what everyone thinks you should be, or whatnot. I think that's the most important part. And you know, a friend of mine told me a while back. He said, "I don't know." He said, I heard this, but I don't think it really came from the Bible. But it's "Thou shalt not bullshit thyself." And I thought that's hilarious, one, but it's so true, you know. And I think the fact that you know who you are and you can honestly move forward in life knowing that, I think that's important. You know, there may be people that are listening to this podcast that are like, man, I saw this as a way out. You know, when I first saw this opportunity, I saw this as a way out financially. I'm not passionate about real estate though, but man, you know, I feel like I could win here. But all these people seem like this is what they want to do for the rest of their lives, you know, but I'm just not that way.
Yeah.
So kudos to you, brother, for being real with yourself and sharing that and shining a little light, you know, in that arena. So thank you for your self-awareness. But and I do want to ask, because Tanner brought up a really good point. So engineers, well, this isn't really to Tanner's point, but engineers are notorious for analyzing stuff, right? Like they're usually, I come from a sales background, and anytime we had an engineer that we're trying to sell stuff to, it was like our worst person, because they wanted to take the time and really figure things out and really think things through before we were like, look, just commit, just sign, you know, there's no need to overthink this thing. But I felt like I was taught that like engineers have this mind where they really need to analyze stuff. Did you have that problem when you first got started, where you felt the need, or were you just an action taker?
I feel like I succeeded because I was like that. I think my tendency to analyze is what kind of made me kind of fast lane 100 miles per hour past everybody else
For sure.
for a long time, was because I was super analytical. Because the thing with engineering, it's kind of like engineers are basically like, how does this work? I need to know how. I need to know everything about it. I need to be able to take the car apart and then put it back together. Like, I need to know exactly why. And the reason that's important is because when you're constantly looking to see how things work and what they're kind of composed of, you're able to establish the fundamental truths about a concept, or the fundamental truths about a principle, right? The fundamentals, the things that are objectively this or no, or objectively that. Now, once you know the objective truths and you are 100% like honed in on the objective truths, you can start to use those objective truths as a foundation to build stuff on.
Right.
So, you know, for example, building a successful real estate business starts with having a very like undivided mastery on the basic principles, like complete mastery in the basic principles. So it's like, you know, it's kind of like you can't build a 60-foot, 60-story tower on a shaky foundation.
Right.
It'll fall right the heck over, especially when you're scaling a real estate company, or any company, as a matter of fact. If we don't take the time to know the basics, they're not going to translate over when they start to become the complicated. You know, the basic is the basic. You use wacky principles of complicated stuff, bad things start to happen. And so for me, the analysis part is kind of what helps me a lot, is because whenever I look at a process, whenever I look at any sort of concept, I think about what makes this true, how does this work, and if I could flow chart this out into 7 or 8 steps, what would each step look like, and what are they? Then you can build on them.
So,
now, did you actually do that?
Yeah, I do that that's how I built my business.
So give some insight to because it's kind of unique. Most people, like I'm opposite of you. Isham will know that instantly. I'm the just go take action. I'll screw up, learn later, and then retake the action and learn.
But you screw up and then you learn.
Right.
And then you screw up and then you screw up, you learn, and then you adapt. And then you screw up, you learn, and you adapt, right?
Absolutely.
What you're doing, and you don't even know it, is you're practicing use of the scientific method. You're having a hypothesis. You're saying, okay, like, I have an idea. This is going to work. You do an experiment and you're like, fuck, that didn't work. And then you have your results and then you go, all right, my conclusion is we're never doing that again, or we're totally doing this again. Then you have another hypothesis, either this works or this, we're not doing this again. And then you run it again. And then you get a little bit closer to success until you hit a new hurdle. And then you have a new result, you reassess, hit your conclusion, and then you keep going into this feedback loop. That's the scientific method. You are doing that without even noticing that you're doing
so give some insight then to those that aren't like me and more maybe towards the analytical mind. And that's kind of where they're stuck in that analysis paralysis phase, because they think they're trying to learn almost. Is there a point to where you can learn too much before you start taking action, or is there, or you don't think there is? How long did it take you, I guess, from the moment you learned to the moment you got your first deal done? And like, what did that time in between those look like?
Here's the thing. It's people kind of confuse analyzing for overthinking. They're actually two completely different things. And I think on this show, we really need to make those distinctions. So analyzing something is digging deep and into what are the root principles for how this works, and then what steps do I take to make it happen, and then now after I analyze it, I have a route to take action. Overthinking is when you falsely overassume results on things that didn't occur yet. So you basically say, okay, if I do this, then I'll do that. But what if this bad thing happens? Then this bad thing will happen after that, and then I'll get this. So maybe I shouldn't start. But if I do this, and then this thing happens from that, then what this happened, everything will go to hell. Asha, maybe I shouldn't start. So it's kind of like the overthinking. It's usually like falsely assuming negative process steps from happening in series. That's usually what overthinking is known to mean. Analyzing is just basically, what's the plan? What are the steps? How do I execute the steps? And let's do it.
Got you. So if you're
thinking and analyzing are two completely different things.
I love that. I'm so glad you cleared that up. It's something I'm very passionate about. I just had a conversation earlier with a newer wholesaler who called me up, who was kind of in that frame of, hey man, I'm stuck. I've been stuck for a little while. And as we talked through, that was the issue. He's I want to say an overthinker, but he's a person who likes to really kind of have his ducks in a row before he gets started. And I said, man, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll let you finish that thought.
Oh yeah. And so anyways, my encouragement to him was exactly what you said. I wanted to draw out the difference, the parallels, they're pretty parallel, but you can just go just a little too far. And now you've crossed over from analyzing to overthinking.
Exactly.
So I think that's brilliant.
Yeah. So it's kind of like this. Like let's use wholesale real estate as an example, right? Please. And there's so many ways where people can kind of overthink and be like, oh man, my offers aren't going to get accepted, or I can't find buyers, or this is the overthinking, is the extrapolation of negative outcome that didn't happen that results in a negative outcome that didn't happen. So it's kind of like, if I cold call, buyers aren't going to want to talk to me anyway. It's like, you didn't even try, that's overthinking, or none of my offers going to get accepted. That's overthinking. And the ironic thing is that analyzing the process is what stops the overthinking. So there's this misconception they're the same when actually one stops the other. So analyzing actually stops overthinking. And so how would you do that? Well, go ahead and you analyze the wholesale process. You're like, okay, what are the steps, right? Let's talk about agent deals. If you're working with the agents, what are the steps? It's like outreach, collect the deals, comp the deals, analyze the deals, place the offer accepted, dispositions, escrow, closing. Those are all the steps. put them all together, and then you think, all right, so what is the like really kind of the root, like most elemental thing I need to do as a wholesaler? Like really on the elemental level, what does a wholesaler do? Like what is it? What is a good one? Well, they know what a good deal is. So you can put a property in front of them, like property information, and they'll be able, like, you know, in their market, say, not in all, say in their market, be able to look at it and be like, this is a good deal. A buyer will buy this. This is a desirable property for an end buyer based on this price and condition. And this is the price that a buyer would pay for it. Basically know what a good deal is. What does a good deal mean? That's first thing, right?
Absolutely.
That's what wholesalers do, is they know what a good deal is for their market. Number two, what they know, what also is a wholesaler is they have a network of cash buyers who know that they're that person's cash buyers that are waiting, that are basically there to buy properties from that wholesaler.
Sure.
And they have a lot of buyers, and the buyers have specific requests and criteria, and the wholesaler writes them down and sells them properties that match. And then the third thing is wholesalers need to get deals put in front of them so that they can look at them and see if the numbers are good for the buyer. They need to have, so basically it's three things: get deals in front of your face, be able to see if the deals in front of your face are good, and then be able to have the buyers to buy said deals. So if you take each of those three things, the fundamentals, and you don't overthink anything, you just look at it literally, you become a literalist, and you say, how do I literally max out each of these three things? How do I? And then, so let's start with it. Let's go for deal recognition, right? So I need to go ahead and I need to recognize what a good deal is in this market. It means I need to know market research. I need to know how to I need to have really good research on my market. So I'm like, okay, so I need to know what a good deal looks like, and I need to know what it is fast. So what if I go and I network with 5 to 10 wholesalers in my market that I can meet online or within my real estate community that have closed a minimum of 5 deals a month for the last 6 months in a row consecutively in my market. I talk to 5 to 10 individuals like this that have closed this many deals in my market. These are my market experts. And I can go ahead and ask them market research questions, because whatever the hell they have to say is probably the right thing because it's working and it's
right
selling the deals.
Absolutely.
So whatever they have to say, it's important. If they tell you to multiply the ARV by 0.5, do it, because clearly it's selling their properties.
So how do you vet these wholesalers then? Because a lot of wholesalers you talk to will say, well, yeah, I close 5 to 8 deals a month, but how do you vet them then?
You kind of know. I mean, it's especially if it's within a community and you can find their content on YouTube, and they're like, and there's usually, if they're really that good as they say they are, you'll find a couple people that can be a testimonial, right? Yep. So like, for example, for me in Tampa, you can go and easily post an Ask group and find 25 wholesalers that have closed a deal with me and be like, yeah, or I've closed 7 deals with Mahmoud, 9 deals with Mahmoud. Like, you can find those people. So, and the same thing with a lot of other people in the community, same with, a lot of other people, and you can kind of do that. And a lot of times people, you can tell if they know what they're saying or not, but really that's kind of the idea. And you want to just ask them, like, what kind of math do you do, right? After you get a property's ARV, like after the ARV is 400,000, what's the price that a buyer should pay? What do you do? Do you multiply by 0.6? Do you multiply by 0.7 and then subtract the cost of major repairs? If so, who are you asking for the major repairs? Contractors? Okay, cool. Are you subtracting your assignment fee after that? So whatever the heck they tell you, you're like, all right, writing this down. Then you survey 9 other people, and you kind of compare answers, and whatever the general consensus is, you kind of go with that. And then, you can also ask the wholesalers, what neighborhoods or zip codes
right
selling the most properties in, and that can basically be like the more popular areas, and you can say, is there any place that you avoid? So stuff like that, you're essentially surveying other people. You can also, use tax records to obtain market research data to analyze. You can go ahead and ask these same questions to your buyer. So there's a million different ways that can get you towards the answer of what is a good deal when I see one. Yeah, so that's for good deals. And then for buyers, same thing. You just figure out how to get every buyer. There's a finite number of buyers in your market, by the way.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
There is such thing as having all of the buyers.
Oh yeah.
And then you just promote yourself, get deals in front of you, deals, look at the deals, figure out if they're good, send the good ones to your buyers, and then boom, you can do that 12 to 15 times a week.
That's phenomenal. And I have a feeling that someone's going to be listening to this saying, Mahmoud, I've done that. Maybe they think they've done that in their head, but
they will never tell me that, because then I'll go ahead and ask them, how many buyers do you actually have? And a buyer is defined as somebody who, not an email that you have, but somebody that if you were to call them, they will say, oh yeah, you, the person that is going to send me a property. Yep. So I'll ask them, how many of those people do you have? And most likely, if they say that they've, if they haven't done a deal yet and they've been trying everything, they most likely don't even have 5 of these individuals. Yep. So no, I don't. I invite anyone to challenge this. I invite it. I welcome it. Literally, I haven't met a person that's done all 3 things and hasn't succeeded. Have you? Have you guys?
No, not at all.
I haven't. I have yet to meet that person. And if they claim it, I challenge it. I win. I find out why they're wrong, and I tell them to go do the right thing. I have not met someone who hasn't done it. It's a very simple process. Very easy. Like sophomore year physics was harder than this process. This is way easier.
It's really, this business is so simple, and people have, I've talked to so many wholesalers that the strategies or maybe the things that they think of, I'm like, you shouldn't even be thinking of stuff like that, because
see, the thing with business though, the reason that a lot of people do struggle with this is because a lot of people don't come from money. A lot of people had to actually work jobs like, Starbucks and Wendy's and gas stations and stuff like that to support their mom and dad when they were kids. They don't grow up in the best area, so they don't really know what real money kind of looks like. And they're kind of under this impression that it's kind of not for them and for their families. And so, they can't mentally grasp the concept of them being able to make a lot of money. And so it's kind of just this crazy complex in their brains trying to convince themselves whether or not they deserve it. And so they self-sabotage and they avoid doing the thing that's actually going to make them money. But I feel like if it wasn't for that and people genuinely felt like they identified as people that were able to become successful at this and have money, that they would just literally do the things as suggested and do a deal like next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a mindset thing for the most part. I think it's only a mindset thing. I don't think there's anybody too dumb to do this. I think literally anybody can. I don't I know some I don't think anyone is too dumb to wholesale. It's pretty much like cooking eggs. Anyone can do it.
You nailed it. And honestly, that's why we started this podcast, bro. There's so many how-to podcasts out there. I learned from how-to podcasts and YouTube videos. That's what I learned to do I did my first deal before I joined Astro. So I used the 10 grand from that to get started, but I got all this from free content. The one thing that I was resourceful enough to figure it out and determined enough to not just rely on one person. So I guess what I was getting at with my earlier question was, what do you say to someone who doesn't respond with saying, hey, I've done all that, but just, in their mind, how people are, they think they've done it, but then when you break it down, but what do you say to someone who's like, hey, okay, so as far as reaching out to 10 people who are doing 5 to 10 deals a month, Mahmoud, those people are so busy, it's so hard for me to hear back from them. What do you say to those people?
Then to those people, I say, okay, fine. That was my idea. You don't have to do my idea. My idea is subjective. You want objective fact? Your objective fact is you need to know what a good deal is in your market. Knock yourself out and think of something better, because that's what you need to do. There's a million different ways to skin the same cat. Go ahead and figure out what a good deal means in your market and think. You can be original. It could be your own thing, but that's the objective. Knock yourself out.
Bro, you nailed it. And I want to encourage people, Mahmoud just said something earlier to that point. He had mentioned, a lot of people are employees, right? A lot of people come from these backgrounds of not business ownership, or their parents didn't do any of this sort of thing. They're used to working a job, and a job provides you standard, SOPs, and show up at this time and do this thing. And it almost strips us, this resourcefulness that we have away. And so I just want people to think, look, you're not an employee here. You've got to figure it out. It's ultimately up to you. You cannot wait on Mahmoud's response. You can't wait on this other person's response to move your business along. You've got to be proactive and
You're
take
an
action.
entrepreneur. Like, an entrepreneur is basically like figuring out how to make money with no money and trying to start a company. You're starting a business like any other startup. Like being in a community and surrounded by people that are also doing it is a privilege, not a right. You're not entitled to basically copy and paste the trade secrets of another company. We do it because we're nice. We don't do it because we have to. So yeah.
Point. What's the greatest lesson you've learned so far in real estate?
Oh man. I'd say I think the biggest lesson that I've learned in real estate has more to do with myself. I think it's like it broke down the illusion of success and wealth and being rich. I think it broke down an illusion for me. And the illusion to me was that people that are the rooms of people that are very wealthy, and the work done to become very wealthy is so massive, and it's not for everybody, and not everyone can be rich and wealthy. And so the biggest lesson was that that's definitely wrong. And it was kind of an underwhelming realization that making a lot of money, especially in real estate, is pretty easy, to the point that it can be like, whoa, like this has been here the whole time. Why didn't I do this 10 years ago? Because I don't consider myself, particularly lucky, because a lot of people would say like it's luck. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it's a skill like anything that you just learn how to do it. You get good at it. And, you just keep doing it. So I think it was the illusion. It broke down the walls for me, that the imposter syndrome, I'd say. So it's kind of just like, literally the lesson is, anyone can learn this. You can teach it to anybody. I've have a bunch of my buddies that aren't in real estate. I just shoot them a few of my videos, and they've done deals on the weekends and stuff like that.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's good insight. Thank you for that. Let me ask you, so in the coming year, right? 2023 is coming up. What's something you're concerned about, and what are you excited about?
Ooh, that's a good question, man. I'd say one thing that I'm excited about for this upcoming year is kind of like the Astro flipping community, and kind of like, because I've kind of seen our community kind of grow since 2020, not just grow in people, but grow in value, grow in content, grow in capability, grow in stature. Just it's immaculate. I've been around for a while, and it's been immaculate how, much it's grown. So I'm excited to kind of see like what everything's going to look like
sure,
this upcoming year. Like, what types of rooms are we going to be in? What types of people are we going to get to talk to and engage with? And what kind of connections are we going to make? And where are we all going to go together? What's going to happen? Because we're all like a family that's scattered across one country. Like,
so true.
So true.
I could be in an Airbnb with you in Texas, in Isham, in 2 months, for all I know. I don't know that, right? We could totally be like, if there's an event 100%. There and you're like, hey bro, you need anybody to crash with, we'll do it. Like, it's just the excitement, the unknown, the wonder of it all, of just being of having the community. I'm super excited for that, what that's going to do. It's just always a fun time. You know, I never know what's going to happen in our world, right? In our rare world where we've found kind of the actual get rich quick like scheme that actually works.
Right. Yeah, no kidding, right? And it's led by like a true, you know,
just
real
amazing
person.
human being. Is
Yeah.
basically like a college professor, but he's rich and has like and makes funny videos, and
Right.
yeah, it's awesome. You know, I mean, I'm really excited just where to go with my real estate family and kind of how everything's gonna be. One thing I'm concerned about, I think, or not really concerned, but just something I need to be aware of is basically like what I can do to continue to elevate my the impact that I make. Like, how can we consistently continue elevating an impact, right? So that's why I wanted to come on, agreed to come on this podcast, because, if people catch one nugget from our conversation that goes ahead and sparks an action that, I mean, because everything starts somewhere. This could be the start somewhere for like maybe at least 10 people, and think about kind of the collateral impact of that, right?
So true.
So I'm always thinking about elevating my impact. And so I'm kind of just like watching for opportunities to do that this year. So it's kind of a concern / excitement at the same time, because I'm just
that's exciting. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I like that one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And I was going to say also, one thing that I've done, because I do a lot of kind of, like outreach within the community and assisting people and helping people, giving them guidance on how to do deals. And I've always kind of adopted this demeanor of kind of, painting the business as being something that is absurdly simple. And it's just, you do 1, 2, 3, and then you're there. And the reason I do that is because it's true. And because I'm trying to break down people's walls on thinking about this as such a grandiose endeavor of wholesaling. So right. I'd rather, and this is getting philosophical, right? Most human beings respond to running from something instead of running towards something.
Absolutely.
So for example, let's say it was December 1st, Isham, and I told you, if you work hard, you're going to make $100,000 at the end of the month. If you work really hard and you close enough deals, you're going to make $100,000 this month.
Right.
Would you be more compelled to say that, to hit that goal, or basically, if I told you, Isham, if you don't raise $100,000 this month, you're going to be homeless. What's going to affect you a little bit more, the second option or the first one?
If you're asking me, I would say probably the second option.
Because we as people, we're more likely we're intimidated by what's above us, but we're scared of going to what's below. So sometimes
I see.
Being scared of what's below propels you forward.
Yeah, right? We'd rather run away from pain than run towards pleasure.
Correct. And so that is something that I think once you realize that, you could actually kind of hack your life around those principles. And so kind of that's a lot, my teaching process and my motivation tactics for people are around that. So it's like, instead of, trying to make people think of me as somebody who is, defied all the odds and, I've worked so hard, I'm so smart, I've done all this. What's that going to do to people if I said it like that? They're going to be like, oh my gosh, like, this is, Mahmoud is some elite guy. He's not going to, I'm not going to be able to do the same. He got lucky, or he's a different breed, or,
Sure.
But what if I came in from the angle of, hey guys, I'm not that smart. This is something a chimp can do. if you can't do it, then I don't know about all that. And then the audience will be like, what do you mean, buddy? Of course I can do it. See, I did a deal. Like that's more likely kind of, it's almost like the fear of being inferior rather than the anticipation of being great. And so if you kind of spin it like that, people are like, everyone's done a deal but me. Of course I can do it. I just need to catch up. And so that's where friendly competition comes in as well. I mean, there's a few wholesalers I work with in the Tampa area where, the difference between, 7 and 10 deals for us is usually like the other 3 come from, you know what, we're going to sell this before them. They can't do more deals than us. You know what I mean? Just go away. Like, it's just friendly fire and stuff like that. So it's you're still going ahead, but it's kind of like you don't have to kind of be in hero mode all the time to win.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? You don't have to be like, I'm going to slay the dragon. You can always be like, no, I'm just going to, run from the lion until I accidentally impale the dragon as I'm running from the lion. So.
I love that perspective, man. That's fascinating. I'm curious, how do you measure success?
Oof. I mean, what is success, right? Success is saying, hey, is feeling, I want this, I'm worthy of this, and then working hard and defying odds to attain this, right? So success is either doing or not doing that in any regard in any field of life. So, for example, if do I consider myself as a success? Certain things and certain things not yet, right? Like, and just because you're not successful doesn't mean you're just not successful yet, right? You're in progress. You know what I mean? And sometimes people, they tend to like the progress bar might hit 30 and they'd be like, I didn't succeed yet, so I failed. It's like, no, progress bar's at 30. So chill, So it's basically the attainment of like, did I set out to do this and did I get it? So it's like, it's either you succeed or your success in progress. The only way you don't succeed is if you abort mission. You know what I mean? Abort. No, I'm not doing that anymore.
Dude, I like that. That's a good one. I haven't heard that one yet. Usually it's very specific, success is this or that. I love that. It's ongoing. It's not giving up. It's not quitting. That's how you measure success. You stay in the game. And
it's funny. Like, I think during my time doing real estate, I've actually learned more about myself and about the human mind and about my life than I have in any of the, 7 years of college education I've had.
So true.
Sure.
And it's because for the first time, I really felt what it was like in my life to be working towards something, failing, being like, fuck this sucks. I can't do deals. I don't know what to do. All right, cool. I'm gonna keep going anyway. And I failed again. Shit. All right, I'm gonna keep going everything. Keep going anyway. All right, I'm gonna go, grab a beer. I hate this. I'm gonna go and do something else. I need a break from wholesaling. I might not be able to do this. Maybe I should go back to do my PhD. Screw this. I'm gonna wholesale a couple more deals, whatever. You know what? I hate this. It sucks. I never want to comp again. I hate deals. I hate everything. Why did Jamil sign me up for this? They just want to take my money. Fuck astro flipping. And then, you know what? I'm gonna comp a couple more deals. And you're just going through that process. And then fast forward months and months and months and months and months of that same resilience of being like, and resilience sometimes can mean you say, fuck it for a couple of weeks or for a couple of days. And I don't want to do this shit. But guess what? You get back on the bike.
So true.
You can temporarily feel like I hate everything, but did you lose? Not if a couple of days later you're back on the bike.
So true.
And so for the first time in my life, I felt what it's like to have that fucking level of frustration. And then several months later being like, I did it. I did it. I actually did it. I said in the beginning, I was going to do 5 deals a month and make, over $40,000 a month. And then for like almost 6 months, 7 months, almost a year, none of that shit happened. And I felt like my life was over because I had given up such a promising future for this crap. And then after all of that, hard work.
Wow.
I was like, actually, it did it. Hard work pays off is not a cliche. I thought it was. It actually fucking did it. Whoa. So the first time getting to experience that viscerally, that was pretty cool. Because I never experienced that feeling before. The feeling of really being tormented by my own human suffering of trying to make something work and the underwhelming short-term results and the lack of instant gratification, and then seeing it over to the other side, being like, I won. I've never done that before. And so having done that, I think that was kind of the coolest thing that I've ever experienced.
Well, looking back on that experience, I guess, from a macro perspective, what do you think it was that you overcame?
I think that's a lot of stuff, man.
Sure.
A lot of stuff. It's not one thing. It's because it's mental, and then it's like, because it's you've developed the resilience to keep going, right? But you've also put yourself in a position where you're forced, like I overcame my own so many like challenges in terms of the actual work. Like, I overcame, I think, let me go back to that question. You said on a macro level, what is it that you overcame?
Right.
I didn't know how to close 5 deals a month, and then I did.
So
I learned everything that goes along with that. I learned how to do the processes, how to do the systems, how to think about things step by step, how to go ahead and talk to buyers. I learned how to ask for questions, go for resources. I became resourceful. I put myself in a position where I knew that if I didn't know the answer, that there was an answer out there somewhere, and it was my responsibility to search for it. And if I didn't search for it, I was just being lazy, and it's my fault. Right?
Yep.
So good.
So if you can't figure out something, there's an answer for it. And if you can't find that answer, that's not anybody's problem. It's yours.
Well, bro, I mean,
that was really that sort of kind of that exact lesson. That lesson was kind of what I needed to overcome, I think. Because you can always seek an answer. If it's solvable, you can solve it. Like right now, if all the car repair places in the country just went out of business and I needed to change the engine of my Mercedes and I had to do it myself, might take me a year, but I'll do it. Like I'll figure it out.
Absolutely.
I'll get the manual. I'll translate it from German to English. I'll go to page 1 and I'll start reading, underlining, highlighting on the manufacturing websites, ordering all the parts, getting the little crane thingy that pulls the engine out and cranking it up, putting it on the side, getting a new crane, putting the new engine, like all that stuff, where to hook everything up, like all engine shit. There's probably mechanics that are going to watch this be like, Mahmoud,
he messed it all
shut up. But yeah, so like, it's like if there's an answer if there's an answer that exists, then it's possible for you to find it.
Absolutely.
And anything less than that is your laziness. And sometimes, that's now where the inner game comes in. And we already talked about that.
100%, dude. Yeah. And that's the beauty of it, man, that, to repair the engine, like you said, yeah, you could probably look up a YouTube video and just hit pause and play a bunch and do all the work, but you've got to go buy all this equipment. And you gotta have some sort of skill set. You got to have some sort of
ownership of the experience.
Absolutely. And then in our world, it's all just in between your ears. Literally you can use every free resource out there to go get a deal. That's what I did and pay $1. I used all the free resources. I didn't have to go rent anything or do anything. But it was all in between the years. So Mahmoud, thank you so much for your time on this, brother. And as we land this show, I know I got to kick you out of here. We're coming up on your hard out time. So thank you so much for giving us.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Well, thank you again for giving us your time.
Yes, thank you.
I do want to ask you one question in closing, and this one, it's your opportunity to stand on a soapbox. It doesn't have to be anything real estate specific, but it is kind of a deep and vague question. But I want to just leave the audience with this message from you. What is your message to the world?
Don't feel sorry for yourself, and just if you want to do something, figure out how to do it. Just do it. No one really cares about you. They kind of care about themselves. So anything you do, you're either helping or shortchanging yourself. So don't feel sorry about yourself. If you want a great life, create one.
Damn, that's so good.
I love it.
We need to clip that last 10 seconds and that's our promo for all of our podcasts. Mahmoud, bro, thank you so much, man. Obviously, people are going to want to reach out to you and get your help that you've so graciously offered to us and some of the audience. So where can people get in touch with you at, and what markets are you working? I know you mentioned Tampa, but if you'll just let the audience know, that'd be awesome.
Yep. Work in the Central Florida market. So if you have deals, send them to deals@snapflip.net, deals@snapflip.net. And then, if you want, find me on Instagram, at the REI engineer. Shoot me a follow. I have a VA that sorts through my DMs and, gives me a report of them every week or so. So I'm not really active on DMs, but enjoy my content. I post some good stuff on there.
Awesome, brother. Well, Mahmoud, thank you again so much for your time, man. It's been an honor and a pleasure having you on here. And Tanner, anything to say to the man before we bounce?
No, I mean, he had a ton of good mindset stuff. I think there's a lot of nuggets, like you had mentioned earlier. I think there's a lot of nuggets that a lot of people are going to be able to take from this. And like you said, even if it impacts one person or 10 people or 100 people, I think this is a good episode to where this is one that newbies are going to want to listen to, because I feel like a lot are going to be able to relate to a lot of the things you had discussed. So you did a great job.
Absolutely. Mahmoud, thanks again, brother. And we'll see. Hopefully we'll have you back on another episode, man, in another 6 months, a year from now, for an awesome update.
For sure. Thank you. This is fun. Absolutely. I'm always happy to do this.
Awesome, brother. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thanks again for your time. And guys, we'll see you on the next episode. Take care. Peace. What up, Elite fan? That's a wrap for today's episode. But look, if you got value out of the show today, do us a huge favor and give us a review or give us a like or subscribe. Do all the things to help us get the word out there. And look, we want to see you on the next show. So get out there and crush it, make it happen. Stay tuned for the next episode. Peace.